you're speaking about at the post office, at the grocery store. And perhaps maybe even though you may disagree with that person on certain matters, that doesn't make them, everybody should be treated with respect. I would also note our country seems to be divided, in case nobody's noticed that. Okay, and so hopefully that doesn't bleed over into our community, because like I said, we are a small community, and even though we may disagree, that we don't want to be disagreeable. With that, is anybody requested to make a comment?
Mr. Schultz.
Michael, please.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, this is a prepared written statement expressing the views and opinions of our residents who live here in our community of Lake Arrowhead Woods. We, the residents of Arrowhead Woods, have a vested interest in our drinking water in our community and our water company, LACSD. The biggest issues for LACSD in our community is the constant battle with PFAS and the false information coming from the cancel culture website known as Arrowhead Woods Informed. This public website was formed to cater to Airbnb property owners and not the residents of our community. This website hates our mountain culture and hates our residents. On social media, the main author gives advice how an Airbnb property owner can sue a local resident property owner. This unchallenged public website puts out false and misleading information about LACSD's board, GMs, staff, and employees, and recently stated they all should be removed. This website was created with a lie for the purpose of credibility. The lie states that the main author, Garen Vartanian, is a resident of Lake Arrowhead. He is not a resident. In fact, he is not even registered to vote in our county. We have received a multiple amount of questions regarding LACSD and what Arrowhead Woods Informed states on their website. One of our residents asked if LACSD is out to kill us all. This question arose after Arrowhead Woods Informed portrayed a vile scene of a dead human being revived from an LACSD employee as if LACSD had caused the death. This type of defamation is a common tactic for this unethical website. We have been involved with an outside investigative journalist and asked her for her objective opinion. She has read through our verified material such as board meetings, emails, public comments, our local newspaper, social media, police reports, and many other different forms of threats towards our residents. We have come to the conclusion and collective opinion that this public website, Arrowhead Woods Informed, which represents Airbnb investors, is a tool utilized to take control of every major aspect of our community, such as LACSD and AWAC. Our residents are well aware of our research, and we have found no other water company that has ever been wrongly vilified for almost 3 years by a public website like Arrowhead Woods Informed. While the main author, Garen Vartanian, continues to condemn LACSD and AWAC and our residents of Arrowhead Woods, we condemn his unethical editorials and false information on his website. The newest false statements include last month's statement that Arrowhead had less than 1 inch of rain, when in reality it was well over 7 inches of rain. Mr. Garen Vartanian was off the mark by only 600%. Also, the main author states that 83% of property owners in the woods are part-timers, leaving just 17% as full-timers. The real estimate is 35% full-timers. This is only 100% off the mark. Also, Mr. Vartanian and Ted have requested over 60 plus public record requests looking for negligence and found nothing. This is a witch hunt against LACSD. We thank LACSD for hearing our frustrations and opinions, and we hope that everyone had a happy Easter. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other requests to speak?
Mr. Hack.
George?
I guess I have one question, and that's for you, Mr. Worm.
Oh, okay.
And that question is
Okay.
regarding this gentleman right here, Michael Schultz. Every month, this man comes in here and reads the same old bullshit, and that's what it is.
George, what,
Well, I don't know what other word to call it, because it is.
well, you could find another word.
Okay.
Thank you.
But I don't know, my question to you is,
Okay.
why do you let him come in here and do this every month? I mean, this isn't like a public place where you can come in and spread lies.
It is a public
And that's
forum.
exactly what he's doing, is spreading lies.
Do you have any other questions for me?
No,
No,
not.
no, I
here.
meant from George.
Yes,
No, that's it,
Okay.
that's my question. Why do you let this
Okay.
man come in here
Okay.
and do this?
I got your question. Thank you.
I wouldn't, if I was president of this organization, I wouldn't let him
Okay.
anywhere near my.
George,
Yeah, right.
You made your comment, so let's calm down. And, as I said in my preamble, I mean, there is the First Amendment, and this is a, public meeting of a governmental agency, so.
Not for lies.
Don't back my community.
Okay. There's an opportunity for the public to speak to the board. Conversations between members of the public don't really have a place in this meeting. Okay, all right. Thank you for your comment. Anybody else?
we have Mr. Vartanian.
Garen?
Yeah,
Mr. Var-
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, so, it was none other than Harry Bradley in the Lake Arrowhead update that gave the statistic that 83% of Arrowhead Woods homeowners are part-timers and 17% are full-timers. That's a direct quote from Mr. Harry Bradley in the Lake Arrowhead update. The question that I have for John Worm is this preamble that you've just recently started reading. Who specifically drafted this preamble for you? Did you draft this preamble, or was it at the recommendation of council for you to draft this preamble and read it at the beginning of every LACSD meeting? This preamble's new. It hasn't been happening since maybe 5 or 6 meetings ago. It's never been there. So, did you draft this preamble yourself, or did council draft it for you to read? Was it at the instruction of council, advice of council? And before you answer that question, Mr. Schultz should focus on his licenses with the Contractor State License Board.
Aaron, that's
Yeah.
beyond
No,
our,
you just let Mr. Schultz.
the scope of our jurisdiction, so we don't want to get into that.
I went ahead and muted it in case.
Okay, well, if Garrett, if Mr. Vartanian has a question about matters within our jurisdiction, or a comment, we can go ahead and entertain that. Go ahead.
I unmuted him.
Okay,
Thank you for unmuting me. I asked you a question specifically within the district's jurisdiction. The preamble that you've read 5 or 6 times hasn't been read previously. Did you draft that yourself, or was that on advice of council for you to read that preamble at the beginning of every LACSD meeting?
do you have any other questions or comments?
That's it.
Okay, thank you. Any advice or comments from council would be subject to attorney-client privilege and would not be disclosed. But I can say the words that I call the preamble are my words only. Thank you for your comment. Anybody else?
That's it.
All right. Okay, next. Can I say something? Sure.
Yeah, I'd like to make a comment. Okay. You know, we're not gonna run these meetings like a circus, all right, or a carnival. We're very lenient on letting people get up and ask questions. You can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard this or read this somewhere that most of the districts, water districts, whatever kind of districts, they don't have a question and answer. It's for public comment, from what I understand. And we're not here to answer questions off the cuff. As a board, I would say we're not here. Some of the employees most of the employees, I would say, have the expertise to answer a lot of questions, and they can if they choose to. I think it's better that if the question's answered or asked, I should say, that maybe at a later time it's answered, and maybe in such a fashion that it is either an email or put in writing somehow on our website. But, as for getting up and making, comments, we're, like I said, we're very, very lenient compared to a lot of boards. That leniency can stop. If we feel that people are getting out of control or saying things that have no basis in any kind of reality. I'm not sure how I want to phrase this. But I know a number of years ago, my first meeting that I came to with LACSD, I came as a deputy sheriff when my lieutenant asked me to. And he said, just go down there and make sure that nobody's getting out of control, because the meetings were completely out of control. They had a board at the time that didn't have the respect of the ratepayers for some reason. And people were heated, and people were getting up, and someone who just got up was one of those people that I had to tell to sit down and quit talking like that. You may not remember that, but I was that deputy, and I cut you off and asked you to sit down and not talk. Because there was cussing going on and threats and all kinds of stuff from people getting up. And we're not gonna run our meetings like that. That's out of control. This is a government entity, and we are held to a higher standard than some of the other committees or whatever you want to call them on this mountain. They run their meetings differently. And I know that some of their meetings get a little out of control. We're not gonna do that. We're not gonna do that. And I think President Wormheimer is being more than nice by letting some things continue. But we need to have meetings that are controlled and that are respectful to each other. I think what President Worm was trying to say is that we're all neighbors. We're all neighbors up here on the mountain. And we will see each other around on the mountain, and we don't want anything to pour over onto the mountain because we're angry with each other. We don't want anything like that to happen. No good comes of that. When people lose their tempers, and as I've heard many times, no decision made in anger is a good one. All right, so we need to calm down, and we need to stick with the facts as we know them or can prove them. Okay, and we all have the First Amendment right. I'm all for that. But we need to think about what we're saying, and we need to think about throwing stones at our neighbors when we're getting up here. Okay, we don't all speak these blanket statements of I speak for all the residents of the Arrowhead Woods. None of us do. None of us do. We might want to rephrase that. Okay, and we might want to rephrase things that come off as facts on things. I do like the way that Ted Hike starts off everything he says. He always says, I think someone told me this, or I heard this, or I read it somewhere. That's a great way to start off things, because you can't be held to it. All right. But I guess my point is we need to calm down, and we need to realize that nobody on this board that I know of or that works for LACSD is trying to put anybody in danger. We're all trying to do the best job we can and deliver clean water and make sure that your toilet's flush and that everything is going well. And we don't have the answers to everything. And that's why we have a legal counsel here that we can ask questions to. And you know, if you're gonna ask a question of us, we may not have the answer immediately, but we will get back to you. And we just need to be a little more civil. All right, we're not gonna get loud in here. And I'm not gonna allow that anymore. I don't have a problem with standing up and telling anybody to sit down. Okay? Did you have something?
Yeah, well, I thought that was very well said. I could just add for the 2 points. So one is that a public comment is not a Q&A. You certainly can entertain and answer a question. So some of the questions that are being asked lately are a little more like cross-examination.
Yeah.
There's not an obligation to respond, although obviously the board is trying to be very friendly and supportive of the community and has responded when they can. So like you said, I think, you know, we will get back to people whether it's at the time or not. And second is on decorum at meetings. So certainly I would advise everyone to refrain from using personal names. If someone has a website that has information that is about LACSD, I think that's relevant and you can talk about it. But to Director Boydston's point, if things get out of hand, the board has the discretion of whether to remove people and to cut off public comment or not. Certainly want to give everyone the opportunity to say everything they want, but it's not a blanket First Amendment right to say whatever comes out of your mouth. So we want to be careful and respectful, and the board discretion as to what that line is just a reasonable call by the board.
Well put.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Joe. All right, now moving on to the consent calendars. They are expected to be routine and non-controversial, be acted on at one time without discussion, unless a matter is withdrawn by a board member for question or discussion. Does a board member want to withdraw any matter?
Yeah.
Is there any member of the public requested to speak on the consent calendar?
No.
No, okay. The only matter on the consent calendar is approval of the minutes from last meeting. Do we have a motion?
I'll move.
One second.
All in favor?
Right.
Any opposed? No. All right. Next, we have information and discussion items, departmental reports. Scott.
Thank you, President Worm and members of the board. This is my first quarter capital improvement program update. And I'm going to start off with projects that are currently under construction. So to give you an update on the Corporation Yard, project 253, the Corporation Yard is getting close to completion. All the drywall is in and being mudded and taped. Painting will start later this week. And now that the drywall is in, Amtech, who is our electrical contractor, will be back to finish the electrical plates and stuff that they had to wait for the drywall to go on. T-bar ceiling will start Monday. And once the ceiling is complete, the air registers can be installed. And we're looking like this will be complete right around the beginning of June. The skater room addition, project 228. The skater room's very close to completion as well. The only thing outstanding are the outer sheeting and flooring, and I hope to bring that to you next month for acceptance. Manhole inflow reduction 2024, project 257. All 20 manholes have been rehabilitated. Ayala Engineering is performing hole testing to test the liners, and I hope to bring that to the board next month for acceptance as well. I&I manhole rehabilitation 2024, project 257. This is our annual CDO project to raise 200 paved over manholes and add a composite sealed lid and concrete collar to prevent inflow. This project is also complete, and I hope to bring it to the board next month. And then one of a newer project is slip lining various projects. This project is to line old concrete AC and clay pipes at 7 locations. It includes 315 linear feet of slip lining and lateral replacement of 6-inch and 700 feet of 8-inch. This is currently under construction right now, and this applies to our CDO. Well 5 rehabilitation project J108 is complete, and we just need the contractor to come back and do an adjustment to our transducer, and then we'll bring that to you for acceptance. Well 6 rehabilitation project 265. This project started today. And we've been working with the golf course to get it done in a timely manner, and we hope to have that completed May 8th. And current projects we have out to bid: Meadow Bay and Blue Jay slip lining, project 263. This project consists of slip lining 6,590 linear feet of 18-inch AC lake main, including the restatement of 71 laterals and rehabilitation of 45 manholes. It's currently out to bid. We had the job walk last week. We currently have 6 plan holders for this project. And we will bring this to you for award next month. And another project, it's not out to bid, but it's out for an RFP, is the solar power at Hesperia Farms. The request for proposal is out and the deadline for proposals is May 9th. And hopefully we'll bring that to you next month as well. Projects that are currently under design, Hospital Road Sewer Replacement, Project 256. This is a small sewer project within the Caltrans right of way from Hospital Road to the entrance of North Shore Road to replace 6-inch VCP pipe with 8-inch PVC pipe. It's 100% designed and ready to go out to bid. We're currently going under Caltrans to get our excavation permit. They came back with a comment that they would like to see trenchless technology for this project. So that's kind of changes our plans, but we're gonna see if we can work around that.
Did you say trenchless?
Trenchless.
Not tarantulas.
It's like boring under the surface. They'd rather us not dig up their asphalt.
Okay.
So. And then PFAS, I think Mr. Brooks will talk more about this, but our plans are 60% design. And our CEQA is now complete, so that's a good plus. Willow Creek wastewater treatment plant water main replacement, project 248. This project includes replacing a 2-inch steel water main with 6,100 linear feet of 6-inch PVC water main from Alberta Court to the water treatment plant. And it's also gonna include 2-inch conduct for fiber optics. Our plans are 100% complete and we're hoping to get that out to bid quickly. And spyglass slope protection, the soils, nail walls, 100% design. And we're looking to get that out to bid soon for summer construction. And we're still working on the tank for that same site. And the Willow Creek wastewater treatment plant building, project 255. That's already been awarded to Blue Scope. Designs are complete and construction should start soon. And that's my update. Any questions?
Question? 260, bald eagle water replacement?
That is under design. We're waiting to get back the survey. So we haven't really started to design that.
Doesn't really have anything to do with bald eagles, does it?
It's the road.
No, funny name.
It's a road and a tricky thing about that with the design is that there are no overhead utilities.
Oh, okay.
Everything's underground. So we've requested the utility maps for those. We haven't gotten anything back. So we're gonna go ahead and USA it and then have it surveyed.
Okay.
So that's kind of been a little bit of a holdup.
Project 229. You had an interesting comment there about the cost for a pond versus a tank.
Yes, and we're gonna meet next week on that. So our plan was to put in a pond. There was kind of a swale at the plant next to our existing pond. And we started to look at building a dam and lining it to contain it, make a second pond. But to make it hold enough water for our operators, we have to extend the dam outside of our boundary in the Forest Service property. So now we're kind of looking at putting in a tank. The cost for tank is a little bit less per square footage. But we're gonna meet next week and talk.
Okay.
get more in depth in where it would go and how big it would be and those things.
Okay. Any other questions? Nope, all right, thank you, Scott.
Thank you.
Next, Nathan.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. This is the field operations first quarter report. Everything was pretty good in the first quarter. We had some weather that we dealt with, snow removal, stuff like that, but overall, pretty good first quarter to start out. Some background information, just to give a quarterly status update on the current infrastructure maintenance activities in the field operations department. The details of these activities can be found in the accompanying attachments. The valve and hydrant maintenance map provides a visual representation of the district's facility. Each page on the map is labeled with a specific number that corresponds to a designated area requiring maintenance or inspection. Once the maintenance for the numbered section is completed, the corresponding box is checked off. This process helps ensure that all valves and hydrants within the district are properly maintained and accounted for. Currently, maintenance crews are working on map page or box 22. So we took, I know the question was asked about how do we keep track of where we are as far as, you know, valves and hydrants maintenance and stuff like that. So this is a map overview of our entire district. It's basically the same thing that we have in our map books. So starting kind of on one, we just kind of rotate clockwise around the lake. And once we're done in that area, we move on, and that map page is removed and a new one is put in the book for next time. So just a way for us to keep track. It's kind of a visual for you guys. We've always kind of done it this way as far as just removing a map page. But that was kind of confusing to show you guys a map book. So this was the best way to come up with showing like how we go through those different pages. Go to page 16 on the water distribution report. Everything's pretty standard here. We did 36,182 feet of leak detection. We serviced 101 hydrants and 223 valves. So we this time of the year is kind of our slow time for maintaining hydrants, unfortunately, just because freezing weather and everything else that goes on. We're flushing those hydrants, try to keep that water, you know, off the edge or whatever. But we got a lot of snow removal and rain days and stuff that we kind of lose some time there. If you go to page 17 on the water leaks were pretty low in the first quarter. Just a few service leaks. Some of the higher numbers, like the 144,000 gallons in Room Forest. Those, when we get a service leak up there in Room Forest, the water never surfaces to the ground. You never know it's there.
This is something we discussed last meeting, I think, right?
Yeah, I think so. It's always kind of the same thing, but kind of what I wanted to get at is basically every time we get one of these, we just replace it. So it's only on that one side, but we're doing pretty good. We're just knocking out those services and replacing them every time we get one of those. Everything else is pretty standard. I do want to point out that we had no actual main leaks at all. These are all service leaks. So, and go to page 19. Sewer was pretty busy. We cleaned 15,000 feet, 15,762 feet. We did 15 pipe repairs and we installed 312 feet of new pipe. Most of that was down at that at the farm project, upsizing the outfall line, but there is some footage in there for repairs up here as well. Everything else is pretty standard. We only had one category 4 spill. And unfortunately, that was related to the public shutoffs from Edison. we had a generator that for some reason, it didn't pick up the last like 18 inches of field, so pretty sure that's already, fixed. But very small spill, we caught it pretty quickly, it was all on a solid surface. We were able to clean up 100% of it and return it back to the sewer. And that's pretty much it. You guys have any questions? You have any answer for it?
I have a logistical question about the water supply to the hydrants. Since LACSD's boundaries are not just Lake Arrowhead Woods, the surrounding communities that are on independent water, they're responsible for their hydrants, or do we still
Yes.
service?
They're responsible for their hydrant.
Oh, they are in Deer Lodge Park?
Oh, well, Deer Lodge,
And Lake
Outside of
Arrowhead
service area.
Villas.
oh yeah, Villas is not. We don't do anything with theirs. We do Deer Lodge Park and Rim Forest. As far as the surrounding communities, but everything else is all maintained by those other water districts.
Okay, so the water is provided to those hydrants, but then the independent, no,
Not the villas. We don't supply any water to the villas.
to the hydrants.
Correct, nothing to the hydrants at all.
So where we serve water, we do maintain those hydrants.
Got it.
But where we don't serve water, we are not responsible for those.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Just wanted to confirm. Thank you.
And is there, in general, do you find that whether the quality or the maintenance level of the hydrants in Rim Forest and Deer Lodge, does that differ significantly from that in Arrowhead Woods?
No,
Okay.
nope, they're pretty much the same. We do the same process.
Okay.
You know, flow the hydrant, flush everything out, make sure it's, exercised its valve through the full range of motion and if all that works, we can add some oil to it to make sure that everything operates freely. But other than that, it's pretty
So
much the same.
The level of safety in those other areas the level of safety is pretty uniform throughout all our area of responsibility.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, they're
Okay.
pretty much all the same process and they'll kind of do the same thing.
You probably don't, you might not know the answer to this. I'm gonna ask it anyways. Do we? So these outlying areas that have a smaller water company, maybe Sky Forest or something, I'm not sure, some of these smaller. Is it a state agency or something like that that checks like the pressure and things like that? Is there a uniformity in California for things like that?
As far as like minimum pressure served or something
Pressure,
like
the
that.
amount of water they should be able to put through theirs.
So
'Cause it's the
depending on the
same-
size of the water, so a lot of them are mutuals and they're
Yeah.
independently run. And depending on the size, it will either be governed by the state or the county. So they all are being, inspected and there's regulations. But yeah, they all
I'm
have.
just curious, because it's all San Bernardino County Fire
Mhm.
in this area, at least West Line, I think that is, right?
Mhm.
I'm just
I think
curious.
they're all under county, huh? You think?
I don't think Reading Springs is.
Or Alpine might be big enough. They're like 900. When does it go to state?
Oh, 300 service or 200 services. Yeah,
Goes to
200,
state.
above 200 services, it's a state system, and then under 200 services is the county system.
Okay.
All right. Okay. All right. Thank you, Nathan.
Mhm.
We
Next,
have a question.
oh, we have a question.
Mr. Vartanian?
Yeah, like Lake Arrowhead's a very unique environment when it comes to the fire hydrants. In 1980, when the county offloaded the sewer infrastructure and Ralph Wagner took it over, the infrastructure transferred from county property to a private water district being LACSD. So in a city like Los Angeles or San Bernardino down the hill, the county, the government owns the fire hydrants. Los Angeles, LADWP, that's the government that owns the fire hydrants. So up in Lake Arrowhead, it's a very unique environment where the water district was given the infrastructure, so they have the responsibility for the fire hydrants. In Arrowhead Villas, the Arrowhead Villas Mutual Services District, or Arrowhead Villas Mutual Water Company, they own the water hydrants because they own the water. So that, to answer your question, that's what's going on with the hydrants. LACSD is in charge, should be in charge of the fire hydrants, and maintaining them. The county's not gonna touch it because it's not county property. The fire department won't touch it. It's like private property and the county's not gonna do something that's gonna create liability. It belongs to LACSD.
Thank you, Garrett. Any other comments, questions?
There's none.
Okay. Next we have HR, Dustin.
Hello,
Hello.
today is my 1 year anniversary.
Well, so congratulations. You know, we didn't think you'd make it.
Step by step. So thanks to the board and Mr. Worm, President Worm. One I want to say is, you know, HR is a special field, and our HR has been pretty quiet. That's probably the most action I've seen in a while. So, props to you guys. We love passion. I tell my guys all the time, we love passion, but there's a place and time you have to have passion. The way you come across, sometimes it's, you get more bees with honey, right? We don't ever really speak about positive things in this setting. So I thought it was good that the board members are kind of speaking up to where we want to see these meetings go. Because my guys are important, my guys and gals are important. I want to make sure that they're healthy to and from. So I want to give you a little brief overview of the HR department first quarter. Like I said, it has been rather quiet. We got 56 full-time employees. We did hire a new employee, joined our family, a field operator, and I'm told that he is doing exceptionally well. So we like that. We did have 2 minor incidents or accidents. The good thing was there was no time missed and no assistance needed. So it was more of a cautionary tale that these things can happen at any time. So we've got 50 employees currently using our benefits packages. We have a policy that's being completed, the indoor policy, heat policy. We had thermometers put in our facilities. So when one of our employees goes in there and does whatever they need to do, they can make sure that the temperature isn't at a certain point, and if they are in there, they don't spend too long, along with documentation. And we just finished that up last week, so that's pretty exciting. One of the things I will say, we do regular safety meetings, once a month, and we have other meetings on top of that as well. And that's a really important part of what I do, one of the reasons I was hired. So I'm very thankful for the manager and supervisors that really hit that hard with their employees on a daily basis. One of the things that we're doing that we'll start in June and in July, we have CPR training for everyone. And so they have the opportunity to join that. And we'll be finishing that up. Hopefully we'll be in the courtyard when we do those as well. So, any questions? All right.
There's none.
All right, thank you, Dustin.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
Okay, next we have Matt.
Thank you, Mr. President, members of the board. On page 23 is my operations manager's report. This report gives an update on water delivered in 2025. If you go to page 28, that's where I put my analysis, and it's right now it's a quarterly analysis. So I'll say what jumps out here for the first quarter, consumption's down just about 5% compared to the first quarter of 2024. Lake withdrawals are also down compared to the first quarter of 2024 to the tune of about 44 acre feet less. Has a lot to do with the additional clawwood we've been purchasing to blend down some of the water. So wells to the system are slightly higher than the first quarter of last year. We're excited. As Scott had mentioned, well 5 is back online as of last Friday, or Friday the 11th of April. And at that time, clawwood was turned off. So claw was off at the moment. Well 5 is back on, and like Scott mentioned, they are getting started on well 6 today to replace the pump and motor, and we're looking forward to getting that back online soon. And zero recycled water was delivered in the first quarter of this year as last year. And the only other thing I have to add is the meeting with the fire department that we've talked about. That's going to be in a couple weeks. We have three different sessions kind of tentatively scheduled, and it's with their the actual firefighters. So we're gonna be having a little bit different conversation, but talking about some of what Nate's been talking about, hydrants, hydrant maintenance. We'll be talking about pressure zones, different pressures, how they vary with in a neighborhood, they can vary greatly, just one street to another. And we also want to educate them on the three different systems that we manage: Deer Lodge Park, Rim Forest, and here, as they all have unique different things to them. So when we spoke with the other gentlemen, they thought, as far as the battalion chiefs, they thought that the guys, because some of the guys work strictly Rim Forest, some of the guys strictly will respond to Deer Lodge. So we'll tailor some information specific to those systems, and I think we'll get some good Q&A from those guys, the boots on the ground guys, and so that's scheduled for a couple weeks, first week of May. And as far as my operations manager's report, that's what I have, and I'll take any questions.
So irrigation season starts
May 1st.
May 1st, so there will be starting to deliver water.
Yes, the
Okay.
community will start using more water, as well as the country club, and we're anticipating about May 1st in that neighborhood, whether it be before or right about there, they'll start to deliver recycled water based on their needs.
Yeah, so we have enough inventory to satisfy our customers' needs, you think?
Yes.
Good,
Mhm.
very good. All right. Any public questions?
Mr. Vartanian?
Garrett?
How much recycled water do you anticipate to deliver to the country club this year?
This typically ranges between 2 and 250 acre feet per year on average, so I would say probably about that, an average amount.
Okay, thank you.
Right, thank you. Anybody else?
That's it?
Okay, all right, thank you, Matt. And next we have Matt.
Alrighty. All right, next is my PFAS update, which begins on page 29. So report gives an update on everything related to PFAS. So if you go to page 31, you'll find updated information regarding PFAS samples, sampling results available, and new information pertaining to PFAS since the last board meeting. You'll see there's not a whole lot of information there. We have taken one sample. We took the Bernina blended sample last Thursday on April 17th. Those results are not yet available, but should definitely be available by the next meeting. The district has been in discussions with N2W and the Division of Drinking Water. N2W is the engineering firm that's doing the design plans for the PFAS treatment. And so we've been kind of finalizing the 60% design plans, like Scott mentioned, and anticipating 90% design plans very soon. As Scott mentioned, we just finished the CEQA environmental assessment for the PFAS project at Bernina and Cedar Glen. So I believe there's action item later for that. And on page 32, you'll see that's the drinking water that we deliver to the customers. And we updated the sources down towards the bottom there to reflect accurate blend ratio for the first quarter of 2025. So next, if you wouldn't mind, please go to page 43 of your handout. And we're going to briefly be discussing rain data. So you might remember the last meeting, Mr. Vartanian was questioning rain data that I had reported, referring to the rain event on February 13th and 14th. So I reported precipitation totals for that event ranging from 7 inches to 7.66 inches based upon 3 gauges that we monitor in the district. One of those is located at Bernina Water Plant, the other is Cedar Glen Water Plant, and the other right here at the Blue Jay Admin Building. But during the last meeting, if you recall, Mr. Vartanian stated that he was at that time on the website, and it showed a daily average of 1.2 inches of precipitation for all of San Bernardino County. So this statement is in fact false. Some quick math shows that 0.12 inches a day times 28 days in the month of February would be 3.36 inches total for that month. We received over double that in the 24-hour period that I referenced in February. And that is what this data in front of you shows. So this data is 43 to page 46. Well, to say, by the time I got home from the last meeting, I had an email from him requesting the rain data that I was referring to, and he also doubled down on a statement from the meeting. Let me read you his email. Hi, Matt. Can you please send the info on the precipitation? I looked it up for February 2025. And the screenshot below shows 0.12 inch daily precipitation average for 92352. I think you said 7 inches. I did say 7 inches, actually more than that. So just so you know, the screenshot that he's referring to in this email, it's a graph from a weather station at the San Bernardino International Airport. And it actually included data from March 25 rather than February 25. And the data on the graph shows March 1st to March 25th when we were having this conversation, the day after the board meeting. So I'll say the next morning I replied to him. I provided him the rain data that you have before you. Then that's found on pages 43 to 46 of this agenda packet. You'll notice that the rain data shows the 3 gauges ranging from 7.03 inches to actually 7.88 inches for that event. And monthly totals ranging from 10.58 inches to over 12 inches. And that's over 3 times the amount that Mr. Vartanian claimed in the entire county. And 60% of the 60 to 70% of that came in one 24-hour period. So I'm sure you were aware, the weather here locally is much different than the weather at the San Bernardino International Airport. In my reply, and along with this rain data, I also included 2 links showing the aftermath of this rain event. One link locally from the San Bernardino Sun that referenced mudslides and debris flow on Highway 330 that resulted in a multi-week closure. I included another link from the LA Times referencing mudslides and flooding in the LA area that resulted in tremendous damage and closures of the Pacific Coast Highway. This was to show that this event was not just local to the San Bernardino Mountains, but this affected all of Southern California. For reference, my email reply was at 8:21 a.m. And I say that because I received a reply from Mr. Vartanian 7 minutes later at 8:28 a.m. He did not even acknowledge the information that I had just sent. Instead, he sent another email full of false and inaccurate statements. In fact, this email would begin a barrage of emails from him, filled with inaccurate statements, disrespectful comments, and derogatory tones, much of what we've all come to endure at these meetings month after month. In these email exchanges that also included Mr. Hike, I told them that I would answer their questions at the next board meeting, meaning right here, right now, tonight. This is so the rest of the public can be privy to the same answers and information that I provide to them regarding PFAS. So this is what we're going to do right now. I have their emails in hand. I will read from them, answer their questions, and respond to their inaccurate statements accordingly. Let's get back to the emails. I mentioned to you I sent one at 8:21. Here's his response at 8:28. He says, I checked with Big Bear Water District, which has the same exact rainfall with the same exact bowl topography draining into Big Bear Lake. The weather conditions are exactly the same as Lake Arrowhead, if not more severe. Their lake has no PFAS in it, yet they enjoy the same rainfall with the same bowl effect. Why is that?
Matt, can I, do we, I don't think we need to really take up all our time for the email exchange. I think you've, stated.
Well, I'm trying to show like questions and statements he's making and I'm responding to him. sharing
Well, I
facts.
mean, maybe in the interest of time, we could just, if there's information that the public should know about,
I think
let's
they should,
concentrate
yeah,
on that.
I do think they should know about all of this. That's why I'm presenting it.
Okay.
So,
Well, cover the big bear
Yeah,
Okay.
information, because people are interested to know.
well, you
how
mentioned
it
that Big
differs.
Bear area receives the exact same rainfall as Lake Arrowhead, and this is false. Because Big Bear is in what's called a rain shadow region. And this means that it's a drier region on the leeward side of a mountainous area and the side facing away from prevailing winds. Big Bear experiences a drier climate than areas on the windward or western side of the San Bernardino Mountains. Big Bear averages 36 inches of precipitation on the western side and receives an average of 12 inches of precipitation on the eastern end, collectively averaging 20 inches of precipitation per year on an annual basis. This is half of Lake Arrowhead's average of 48 inches of precipitation per year. So next, you stated that Big Bear has the same exact bowl topography draining into Big Bear Lake, and this is false. Lake Arrowhead's watershed is steeper and more developed, especially around the lake versus Big Bear. Lake Arrowhead has an average slope of 16% and approximately 45% impervious surfaces. What does this mean? The steeper slope and higher percentage of impervious surfaces in Lake Arrowhead watershed, especially near and around the lake, contributes to increased runoff and reduced infiltration. potentially having greater impacts to water quality in the lake's health rather than in Big Bear watershed. So you again stated that the weather is exactly the same, if not more severe. And again, that's false. I spoke on that topic.
Do we have any more information on PFAS?
Yeah, I do. And this is all relevant to PFAS. So Mr. Vartanian made a statement that Big Bear Lake has no PFAS in it. So this statement is presumed to be false. I spoke with the high-ranking representative from Big Bear Municipal Water District Lake Management Department, and they confirmed that Big Bear Lake itself has not yet been sampled for PFAS. It is not a source for drinking water. They have not yet been required for any reason to take samples of the lake. I would love to see sample results that show the Big Bear Lake has in fact been sampled for PFAS and that there were no detections. I looked for them, called, inquired about them. There was none to be found. So my reply to Mr. Vartanian's email was very short. Although there are many similarities between Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead, there are also many differences. We'll answer this question and any other PFAS related questions at the next board meeting. Okay, his reply was, what are two differences between Lake Arrowhead watershed and Big Bear? I again replied, said, I will reply at the next meeting. This is where Mr. Vartanian responded, making disrespectful statements to me. Are you going to brainstorm and make sure your answers are approved? You made a comment about Big Bear and Lake Arrowhead being different, and I'm trying to understand your basis. As the second in command, it shouldn't be hard to answer the question of what makes the two areas different. Garen. I'd like to say, Mr. Vartanian, I have not made any disrespectful comments or statements here tonight at any of the board meetings, nor have I ever sent an email to you with disrespectful or disparaging comments. I have always answered your questions in good faith, regardless of how you speak to me or others. Here at LACSD, we speak to each other and to members of the public with respect, and we also expect the same in return. I will no longer respond to your emails. You can continue to send them if you would like, and I'll respond at the next scheduled board meeting, or you can ask the questions here. I'll either answer them at that time, or I will answer them at the next meeting. That's assuming your questions are legitimate and appropriate in context to the subject matter at hand. So as I said in the email, I'll answer your question regarding differences between the watersheds. The rest of the public can have access to the same information that I share with you. And Director Worm, I do believe this is relevant. If you see the rhetoric that is being put out there online, it's as if Lake Arrowhead and Big Bear are exactly the same in all these reasons. And I'm just trying to share facts, and I believe there's a lot of good information here for the public to understand the differences between the two, so they can make decisions on their own when they see the stuff online. All of this stuff was found online through diligence, just searching. And so if you just give me a few minutes, I believe all of this is relevant regarding PFAS and explaining the differences between Lake Arrowhead and Big Bear, because right now it is being claimed that Big Bear has zero PFAS in the lake and in the area up there. So there are major differences between the two.
Let's focus on PFAS and Lake Arrowhead, okay?
So I think one thing that Matt would like to get across is, unfortunately, there has been PFAS found in Big Bear,
Right.
2 different water agencies. So you can find that information online. And so it's unfortunate. PFAS is,
It's everywhere in the world.
yeah.
I don't think Big
So
Bear is
unfortunately, Big Bear is
exempt from
also
PFAS.
dealing with this issue.
Can I just make one comment? Just speaking for me, I don't question at all what you have said in the short time that I've been here, not just tonight, but in prior meetings. I would like to think that you don't feel that you have to respond because we might doubt you. We don't doubt you. I don't doubt you.
Yeah.
You know, we have to be careful that we respond appropriately to the public. But at the same time, I don't think it's fair to you for us to expect that you answer word for word everything that comes in, when in fact there doesn't seem to be any truth to any of it. You know, if there was a gleam of truth in there, then yes, maybe you could educate them. I don't think you can educate them. And I don't think it's your job.
We'll have an opportunity later, Michael. As soon as we're
It's on the PFAS.
Oh, I know, but you have an opportunity. Thank you.
Well, I appreciate your statement and I'm actually sharing this information and facts to the other 98% of the people out there that are listening, that are interested in learning. Because we get bombarded with inaccurate information constantly, and so does the public. And I wanted to take the time to respond to these statements and accusations here and now, just so I could have the opportunity. So it wasn't so much I was thinking you guys were doubting myself or the staff. It was more so to get the information out to everyone else who's willing to listen and all the rest of the public. So I can skip through a lot of this, whatever you guys would like, but
Do you have any questions or comments
No.
from the board or other comments?
I mean, can I mention about the PFAS and Big Bear then? I'll just skip
Well,
straight.
I'd like to hear it.
Okay, go
I
ahead.
mean,
Listen, I'm not doing anything tonight.
Okay.
Go ahead, man.
All right, well, in doing my research about Big Bear, I also looked into their drinking water monitoring results, which can be found online for access by the public, for people like me, Mr. Vartanian, anyone here in the room. Okay, the information's available to everyone, and I was able to obtain this information without any public records request. If you Google public drinking water watch, you will find a link to a database that has monitoring results for all California public water supply systems. And this is what I found. Some of it might surprise Mr. Vartanian, but there are 2 public water systems in the area in Big Bear. There's Big Bear City CSD, and Big Bear Lake DWP. Let's do a quick comparison. So LACSD has 6 sources positive with PFAS. Technically 5, 1 being the lake. It counts as 2 for our 2 intakes. Big Bear City has CSD has 8, and Big Bear Lake DWP has 9. And I'll just say, out of the 2 systems up there, one has more concentrations of PFAS at much higher levels than the other. We have 2 sources, again, technically one in the lake that's above the MCL here. One of the systems over there has 5 sources over MCL, and another one has 1. And I'll just say that 5 of their constituents, the PFAS that were detected, are 3 times the amount of LACSDs. These are groundwater wells only, because they don't use the lake for drinking water. So they have 5 groundwater wells that have higher concentration PFAS than our lake. And they have 2 that are 20 times the amount of our lake, okay? So these results are from samples taken from May 24 to March of 25, fairly recent. And the most recent result that I found was March 18th of 25, about a month ago. So I have a whole bunch of other information, but for we can disregard it if nobody wants to hear it. But you know, basically I responded to an email from Mr. Hike, who was confused based on what I presented last. He had asked a question about why does PFAS go up when it rains. So if you guys recall, we talked about the bowl effect in Lake Arrowhead. And so that was the answer, the bowl, the stormwater. And then that's the whole purpose of the links that I included in here, because that's what I responded to him with. He was misunderstood, and in his email, his response, he finally says he misunderstood, but he was at first asking or saying he's done hours of research. He can't find anywhere where PFAS leaches out of asphalt or concrete alone. And I said, okay, you're misunderstood. I was referring to stormwater, and then you can see all the links that I included here. Now, the last thing I'd like to say regarding PFAS is like with these links, you know, I took information right out of these links and emails, and I sent it to Mr. Hike, and I basically said that stormwater picks up all these different things, and it's out of a document right here from the EPA, all these different links, such as fertilizers, pet waste, bacteria, chemical contaminants, herbicides, pesticides, fuel, motor oils, grease paint, trash. Mr. Vartanian's response said all those items that I listed don't have PFAS in them. Okay. A quick Google search will let you know, like, is there PFAS in paint? Absolutely. There's PFAS in every single one of these items. So, and so I'll just leave it at that. I had plenty more information to kind of go over and discuss, and it was all PFAS related. And, but I'll just leave it at that there is PFAS detections up in Big Bear. The lake has not been sampled up in Big Bear, and those detections up there are much higher than levels that we have in our lake here. And stormwater we'll say stormwater runoff, see, like the document I included in here after the storm, a citizen's guide to understanding stormwater, bunch of good relevant information in here for all of the public. It was written in 2003, well before PFAS was like an issue, a known problem. So it doesn't talk about PFAS, but it talks about all those things I just listed, stormwater picking it up and being a significant source for water pollution. That's not a new concept, and it's still relevant today. The only thing different today is PFAS, and the technology to detect it is so low that its detections are coming up everywhere. It's not just here in Lake Arrowhead, and it is in Big Bear, and it is in the DWP, Los Angeles DWP basin. So that's all I have on PFAS. I'm just trying to set the record straight and inform the public on some facts. So.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you for all of your time and effort. I think it's frustrating on your end to have to respond. As ratepayers, I don't think it's wise to use resources to have to look at all of these other issues that don't actually involve Lake Arrowhead. I'm sorry that it is so frustrating to get constant requests for information or comparisons that are not consistent with your findings and the information that you have. And that those the opposite findings are being published elsewhere, is frustrating. I think the best thing we can do is publish the information that we find regarding our lake and the efforts that we are taking to ensure, the best quality that we can to our ratepayers. And so I think it's a good idea to no longer respond if you find those emails to be taking too much of your time. You're a very busy person with a lot to do. And I would leave those people to do their own research on surrounding areas or things that are not involving our area. And any questions or requests for information regarding our lake and our water should be made available at these meetings, would be my input.
Right, thank you. Any other questions, comments from the board?
No, I think that it's, I think you did a good job, a great job. It would be nice to think that all that hard work would actually gain some benefit.
Yeah.
I find it highly unlikely, but don't stop.
Okay, all right. Michael, you wanna?
Yeah, this is the first time I heard that.
You could go ahead and stand up at the podium if you like,
Oh,
or you
Yeah.
can relax, either way.
no, thank you, Mr. Brooks. And as far as I'm concerned, it's imperative and relative to hear this.
Okay.
I mean, the residents, which there's a boatload who, we speak to daily. Always hear the one side from the public website, and we don't get this open window that we just now received here. We thought we're the only ones with PFAS. We would have sworn until just now, I get what you just now said. Big Bear's free without PFAS. Why? We knew about the rainfall. That was totally off base, but we need to hear this stuff. I mean, it's the first time I ever heard it, and I'm gonna tell all the residents, and I thank you, Mr. Boyster, for what you stated, and I apologize to the board. But, when it comes to an unchallenged public website that half the community believes, and I should know I receive 40, 50 phone calls every day, which are full-time residents, and they don't know which side is up, which side is down. This is the first time I heard this. It will be shared quickly, and it is relative, and it's imperative that we hear it, in my opinion. And I thank the board for listening to me, and thank you, Mr. Brooks.
Thank you, Michael. George?
Is I just, we've seen some pictures of a few of the sewer pipes that are damaged. Does this contribute? And if it does, is there any work being done to repair the sewer pipes?
I'll let Nate answer that. He heads up that department.
Yeah, we constantly
Well, we've
look
seen
for,
some damaged pictures of the insides of sewer pipes that really look horrible.
yeah, so referencing some of those pictures is probably the current project we have going on right now. And our plan is to line that pipe with a liner inside, basically make it brand new pipe again. So We're constantly out there looking for stuff. If there's any spot repairs we can do, we try to do those as quick as possible. And we're always out there looking. It's a nonstop effort on our guys. We're out there all weather conditions constantly.
Does that contribute though to the PFAS
No.
sewer leaking into the ground and water?
I would say to say that is the only thing leaking. I mean, like Matt was saying, everything around us has PFAS in it. So we all need to take a look at all of the things that we use on a daily basis and see what is in there in those products. It'll say most of the time, I mean, ingredients or whatever, you can find that it has PFAS in there. So, no, I do not believe that's true.
Thank you, George. Any other members of the public?
Mr. Vartanian?
Garen?
Yeah, I want to thank Matt there for the long, thorough presentation. In all of 2005, I've emailed Matt 2 times. It's I don't know how many emails he's referring to for the whole entire year. I've emailed him maybe 1 or 2 or 3 times. Last year, maybe 3 or 4 times. So yeah, thank you, Matt, for taking the time to answer my emails. It takes a lot for you to do that, and I appreciate it. I'm going to read directly from the Los Angeles Department of Water and Power, and Matt can fact check me next month. We all have time. The Los Angeles Department of Water
Garen,
and Power.
ask you, does this have anything to do with Lake Arrowhead?
Yes, it does.
Okay, well, let's concentrate on that part.
Yeah,
Okay?
you're taking up my time. Thank you. The LADWP reports that their tap water in areas served by LADWP has been tested since 2013. No detections. LADWP testing has not revealed any contamination issues in their water supplies relating to PFAS. So that's all of Los Angeles County that has no PFAS in their drinking water. So I never said that Big Bear Lake and Lake Arrowhead are cookie cutter exactly the same. What I did ask for you guys to do was Lake Arrowhead is a very unique fact pattern. We're at 5,000 feet elevation. We're in the middle of the forest. There is no military base. There is no fire department training grounds where they spread firefighting foam. There is no industrial park. There's no airport. These are the telltale signs where PFAS is located. The final location where PFAS is located is in the sewer systems. Sewer systems, they concentrate PFAS concentrations. So Lake Arrowhead doesn't have a military base. It doesn't have a fire department. It doesn't have an airport. It doesn't have a industrial manufacturing park. So what Lake Arrowhead does have is a crumbling sewer infrastructure. And I know you guys you guys are doing your best to deflect, but the pictures of the sewer system that you guys have provided us with all the holes in them, it's incomprehensible. It eludes logic for you to say that the sewer is not leaking out of the pipes. And now you've adjusted your answer ever so slightly. You said sewer is not all to blame. It's a small portion. It's possible. It could be a factor, but it's not the sole factor. But taking sewer into the ground, it goes to that bowl that you keep mentioning. The bowl is Lake Arrowhead. It ends up somewhere. When you irrigate the country club with recycled water, many people don't know that recycled water has the second to highest concentration of PFAS next to the actual sewer water. So you're actively contaminating an area, knowingly taking water that has PFAS in it and spreading it in the Grass Valley community. Those homes are being contaminated. The attorney for LACSD will say we're meeting all the guidelines and we're following all the rules and regulations. But guess what? You're actively contaminating an area with recycled water that is known to have PFAS in it. And that's going to create liability for you guys. So maybe Mr. Brooks can, do some more checking, check with LADWP and see if what I'm saying is correct or incorrect. And Big Bear has the same exact rain, similar rain. I'm not saying exactly. It rains up there too. And believe it or not, it snows up there more than Lake Arrowhead. All that stuff ends up in the lake. It doesn't get washed down the mountain to Highland. It goes somewhere. And Big Bear Lake would be, it's the bottom point. That's where the water's filling up. So all this stuff where you guys have put up EPA flyers from 2003 with pick up your dog poop and make sure your motor oil doesn't get on the ground. Make sure your septic tanks are sealed. Please make sure your gardening is done correctly. The fertilizer doesn't get on the curb. That's all the whole, it's a fairy tale story fantasy. So, next month you guys should create your own little brochure instead of copying and pasting a brochure from 2003 that the EPA published. That has absolutely nothing to do with PFAS. So good luck to you guys on your endeavor, and I hope you guys come up with some answers next month. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Any other? Catherine.
Yes, thank you. In the interest of time, I'll just cover one. I mean, you can read the information here yourself, but the only thing I'll cover is you may have heard the newest invasive mussel species, the golden mussel, has found its way into the California aqueduct, which is feeding Silverwood Lake. So it is a concern for Clawa. Obviously, we don't get raw water from Silverwood, but our concern is more that it might spread through boats and that kind of thing. So ALA has a very good program for cleaning boats and that kind of thing. I have talked to ALA about this and they are aware of it. The one thing about the other invasive mussels in the past is they required a higher calcium content in the water than the golden mussel does. And Lake Arrowhead has rather low calcium content. So that has probably also helped us in the past, but this mussel actually can propagate in lower calcium water. So we're keeping an eye on that. Everyone's aware.
Questions, comments, by the board? No. You're not gonna get away so easily. I see the battery has saved us over $100,000.
Yes.
Okay, so thank you for, I know you did a lot of hard work on that. We appreciate it.
Yes, it's a good project. We're still fine tuning it and we're gonna make it even better. You will see, we're gonna be upgrading the electrical equipment at Grass Valley so that it can do even better work in the future. So you'll see that in the future.
Okay, very good. Now we're moving on to action items. First is action item number 10, or it's action item number 10 on the agenda. Resolution amending and adopting local guidelines for implementing CEQA.
Thank you, President Werner. This is a housekeeping yearly event where we do a resolution for the upgrades to the CEQA. And some of the changes that we're looking at this year from last year, exemption for residential or mixed-use housing projects, transit prioritization projects, routine maintenance of stormwater facilities, reproductive service community clinics, and responsible agency provisions of financial assistance or insurance for the development and construction of affordable housings. So these are the changes since last year. It's staff recommendation to consider adopting this resolution for the amending and adopting local guidelines for implementing the California Environmental Quality Act.
Thank you, Scott. Any questions, comments from the board?
Mhm.
Public comment?
There's none.
No? Okay. Roll call vote? Or I guess we should entertain a motion to adopt the resolution.
I'll move that we adopt resolution 2025-01.
I'll second that.
Okay. It's a roll call vote?
Director Ambrosi,
Aye.
Vice President Boydston,
Yes.
Director Brown,
Yes.
Director Reynolds,
Yes.
President Warren.
Yes, okay. The resolution is adopted. Next, we have action item number 11. Consider adopting a notice of exemption under CEQA for the PFAS removal project.
Thank you, Mr. President. So we have conducted biological and cultural surveys for both the Cedar Glen treatment plant and the Bernina water treatment plant, where we're going to be installing the PFAS equipment. So we've done the background and determined that there will be no impact on the environment. And so we're asking the board to consider adopting a notice of exemption for CEQA.
Questions, comments from the board? No? Questions, comments from the public?
There's none.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and make the motion because it's got a little bit of a technical language, all right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna move that we adopt a notice of exemption under California Environmental Quality Act for the PFAS removal project at Cedar Glen Water Treatment Plant and determine that the project is exempt from CEQA under CEQA guidelines sections 15301 and 15061B3.
Second.
Thank you. Okay. There's no roll call vote.
No, regular vote.
All in favor?
I,
Any opposed? No, okay, motion carries. Okay. Next is action item number 12.
Thank you, Mr. President. So this is similar. This is actually for the Bernina water treatment plant. So it has a separate exemption because the project is slightly different because we're going to build a small building to house the ion exchange canisters, but also found that this project would be exempt from CEQA.
Any questions, comments from the board? Any questions, comments from the public?
There's none.
Okay, I'll make a similar motion. Move that the board adopt a notice of exemption under the California Environmental Quality Act for the PFAS removal project at Bernina Water Treatment Plant and determine the project is exempt from CEQA under CEQA guidelines section 15303, 15061B. Do we have a second?
second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries, the resolution is adopted. Okay, board member meetings. Any board members want to report on or go to any meetings?
I can report. Should I report on?
I have you
That's
and
fine.
President Warren next month and Dr. Brown this month.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go. I had to complete 2 hours of the state required local agency ethics Assembly Bill 1234 training in compliance with Assembly Bill 1234. The training was provided by Vector Target Solutions. The training provided the following essential topics: laws concerning personal financial gain by public officials, including bribery and conflict of interest statutes, regulations regarding officer holder perks such as travel and gift restrictions, use of public resources for personal and political purposes, and prohibitions on the use of public funds for personal gifts as outlined in the Political Reform Act. Also, government transparency laws, including financial disclosure requirements and laws ensuring the public's right to participate in meetings and access records such as the Brown Act and Public Records Act. Also, laws ensuring fair processes, including common law bias principles, incompatible offices, prohibitions, disqualification from decision-making involving family members, due process requirements, and general ethical principles relating to public service. Such fun stuff. And then I did a sexual harassment prevention for supervisors training. I did that on March 16th, 2025 during a snowstorm. I completed 2 hours of the state required sexual harassment prevention training for supervisors in compliance with Assembly Bill 1825 and 1661. The training was provided by the California Special Districts Association and covered the following topics: definitions and examples of sexual harassment and discrimination in the workplace, how to identify and avoid harassment, including steps to take if you witness or experience it, potential consequences of harassment, including personal liability, definitions and examples of abusive conduct as outlined in AB 2053, and sexual orientation, gender identity, and gender expression in compliance with Senate Bill 396.
All right, well, thank you for your report. And you had to take a test?
I
Did you
did,
pass?
I did,
Oh,
both of them,
Okay,
the first time.
first time, okay.
Now you're bragging.
I
Okay,
paid attention.
all right. No cheating on the ethics test, I hope.
No. No.
All right. Okay, board member comments? Any questions, comments? No? Okay. Anybody got the Lakers score? No. Okay, we'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
One second.
All in favor?
I.
Any